Hello, welcome back to Versus Live here, where we are testing out the Jeskai Superfriends deck that Zan Syed won the Open last weekend Syracuse with. So far, very impressive. Won both matches, easily dispatching the Esper midrange deck.
Yeah.
Close one against Mono Red, but came out ahead. That's about as good as you can ask for.
I think notably, just the post-board games get a lot better for this deck because of how flexible it is. The Planeswalkers are all just like really generically powerful in what they do. Teferi, Time Raveler is not particularly good against Mono Red, but against like every other deck in the format is just nuts.
Yes, and it's not even that bad against Mono Red. It's still fine in so many of the games. And now we're gonna pit you against Izzet Phoenix, a deck that we both love, and the deck that I played last weekend. And I played this matchup one time. I was the backup camera against Kazu Negri, who was also in the top 8, I believe.
Yes,
and
he was the third Jeskai Superfriends
yes.
person that was not a member of Team Lotus Box.
Yeah, we played in round 4. So early on in the tournament, and that was the round where I realized that my sideboard was wholly inadequate because I had way too many Narsets.
Yeah, I mean, Narset, like, I had 4 Narset in my MCQ list, and I played against Esper Control 2 or 3 times, and it's just the nuts against an Esper Control deck because their Absorb's turned off and stuff, but since then, people basically just stopped playing Absorb. Almost all the Esper Control decks have become Esper Midrange, or even Esper Super Friends, like the Planeswalker decks. So, like we were talking about before, things have evolved so quickly, and it was just kind of a relic of a previous iteration of the deck.
So I realized I needed more ways to pressure Planeswalkers, so I've got an extra Saheeli in the deck. We've got some War Bosses and Sarkans in the sideboard to complement the Planeswalkers. Because after board, you're going to have 3 Saheelis and 2 Narsets to go along with the Sarkans.
Right.
And this is a matchup where like your Teferis aren't great, so you might not leave all of them in.
They're all staying in.
Okay.
It turns off Finale Promise, bounces Crackling Drake to draw a card, and it makes you just play everything at sorcery speed. Lets me Lava Coil at instant speed after sideboard, which is nice. Definitely Clarion at instant speed to make sure that it's good. It's not obviously like it's not super duper good, but like even bouncing a Goblin Electromancer on turn 3 if I'm on the play is insane.
Yeah, Teferi is just really good. Okay.
Good card.
Well, I think this is a matchup that Izzet Phoenix is situated to be good in if you can find the right build of it. Arclight Phoenix is such a good card in the matchup, and you can really get ahead. You've got burn spells to finish off Planeswalkers that are minusing, and you don't have a lot of dead removal in game 1. It's just some Lava Coils that need to come out. So you're not poised to have a lot of dead cards the way we saw Tyrant Scorn in the Esper midrange deck. You have things like Charter Course and Tormenting Voice and Radicalate to pitch dead cards and turn them into something relevant.
Yeah.
And you can get really far ahead. If an Electromancer goes unanswered, you only have those shocks and a couple Lightning Strikes, 1 or 2. So I think this is a matchup that on paper, I would say an Izzet Phoenix deck structurally is ahead. But the Jeskai deck is just so powerful.
And the main problem comes from both of the 3-mana Planeswalkers that have a significant effect. Well, all 3 of them do, but namely, Teferi locks out an entire part of your deck. Finale Promise is like something you're relying on a lot of times in that deck to get multiple, or at least just 1 Phoenix back on turn 4. Whenever you don't have a Goblin Electromancer, a lot of times Finale Promise is like the only way to get it back. But the way that Teferi Time Raveler is templated, you actually can't cast the spells that you target with Finale Promise, so it just shuts down Finale Promise altogether. It's super frustrating. As an Izzet player, from my side, has happened to me a lot. The other 3-mana Planeswalker that also just obliterates your deck is Narset. If the opponent is savvy, and I already have figured this out because other people did it to me, I'm probably going to cast a Narset and just never minus it because the static effect is so backbreaking against the deck, and the only way they can get out of it is by attacking it, or attacking it plus shocking it, or double burn spelling it. And you never want to make it vulnerable to an Arclight Phoenix attack the one of time it does it, and you never want to make it vulnerable to a Lightning Strike. That's about it. And at the very least, I'm always going to leave it on 3. If I really need to minus it, I'm just never putting it at 1. Because you just always have shocks.
Yeah, that is definitely the case with Narset. That's the biggest problem, I think, of the matchup, is that you just have this sort of trump card that shuts down the deck's engine. And I think if I can solve that, I should be in good shape, or if Narset doesn't come down early before I get established. Yeah. Once again, I'm on the play since I lost the previous match.
What's that? You lost both the previous matches already? I guess I just get to keep the marbles this week, huh?
Zender Split's hanging out, protecting it for you.
Okay, hell yeah.
Solid hand here, a little bit slow, but it has the potential to be quite good.
Yeah, my side, we need red mana, but we have an opt to dig for it, so I think that's okay.
Start on a steam events.
Okay. 18, your turn.
Discovery.
It's fine.
And
if he puts a Phoenix in the yard here, that's not good for me, but Discovery to me is only, I mean, it's certainly better than Radical Idea, but the fact that neither gets targeted by Finale Promise is kind of bad, and I don't really like playing a lot of either of them. All right, so let's opt. All right, well, we found the red mana, so that's good. Let's play this tap. Your turn.
spell
Nick
pierce
Miller
for me?
in the chat saying keeping the marbles is easy when you have the most broken deck in the format.
It's good deck. It's good deck, Jen. All right, now we're just going to shut Ross down completely. Just going to leave this at 5 and force him to start playing Phoenixes and attacking it.
21.
Gain a life?
Your turn. I'm at 19 actually, but yeah.
Shocked.
Shocked first.
Shocked on 1 for the opt.
Pass.
Are you mad? This is literally what's happened to me for like the past week straight. I get it.
It's getting punished for every decision I make, and you just have every card.
Bounce this.
100% of the time.
And
That doesn't mean you're a bad player, Ross.
Actually, in response to that Teferi, I think I have to shock this Narset.
okay, well now I think I still bounce.
Yeah.
But I might minus this. So let's bounce, and then I'm gonna minus this. So it's gonna go to 1. And we missed. Weird. All right. Well, we still and I already played the land. I could have potentially undid the lands, but it's fine. Whatever. Just don't have the 4th land, huh?
Yeah, like I've been to it because the deck floods so much. I played so many games with 12 lands in play, but of course I've just drawn every single Crackling Drake in my deck.
I'm gonna tick up.
Yep. Tick up, shock my thing, play a
I don't
Planeswalker.
have a shock. Can you just play the game? I know it's frustrating.
Well, the game I'm playing is assume you have everything.
Okay. That's just not the case.
So far it's been true.
All right, I'm gonna play a Sarkin and make a dragon. Now, if you have Lava Coil, you're in great
21.
shape. So chill.
Well, the difference between you and me is I have nothing.
Your turn. You have 3 Crackling Drakes. It's not nothing.
Yeah. Turn late. I didn't Tormenting Voice on turn 2 because I didn't want this to get spell pierced. It would have been much better. I think it would have been better just let this get pierced.
I did have Spell Pierce. So
Yeah,
it would
will
have
you
been real bad.
pierce me the next turn?
Sure.
But then I would have resolved the Saheeli, and Saheeli would have still been awkward against the Narset, and now I'm just very dead. I guess I have to just cast a Crackling Drake and hope to find a coil soon.
Yeah, what's that Drake at?
It's currently a
2/4.
2/4.
This day is coming in and he's like, all right, see these Crackling Drakes? Now look down. They're Legion War bosses. How do you feel?
Yeah, could have been way better.
Yes, I missed my 4th land drop, so a 3-mana spell would be better than a 4-mana spell.
Yes, I know, but that's kind of the whole point. It costs less mana. So you can freely bin this more often. You can even go down to 20 lands. I'm saying it's all theoretical.
Yeah.
But like Legion War Boss, I think, might just be a fine main deck card. What are you at?
I'm at
20?
20.
All right. Take up. Attack for 16.
I will go to 4.
Let's see. I guess I will go Beacon for blue. Play another Narset. Minus.
You're at 23.
Keep a Spell Pierce. Crap. And play Mobilize District, and I'll clear and away the Goblin. Your turn. Could have gained 1,000,000 life that turn. That's probably a mistake.
So I need to draw a Lava Coil. I'm dead.
Okay.
Just so chat knows, he could not draw the card off Crackling Drake because of Narset.
Yeah, the static abilities keep getting people. We actually had a couple of camera matches this past weekend where a card was drawn under Narset. I know Jim did it once. Abe Corrigan did it once. And there was at least one other one. And like the fix is pretty easy in tournaments. If it's caught, and if it's not caught, like it's we don't really, unless it's habitual or whatever. Once people get used to it, we're just gonna like kind of let it go. But a lot of people were really upset about it, and like everyone in chat just keeps missing it. So
you mean
like,
let it go when it happens on coverage?
No. I mean, like, I'm not gonna say the person did it intentionally or whatever.
Oh, sure.
Like some people were like,
Yeah, there was a million of those warnings all throughout the tournament.
Yeah, it's really bad. It might be so bad that Narset gets banned because it has the rampaging Frostodon effect, where it just causes so many tournament infractions that it's just not worth having.
I was told that 2/3 of the warnings given out in the tournament were due to Narset.
Wow.
And that was about halfway through day 2.
All right, it's 3:24. Do you want to play a 3-game match or a 5-game?
Yeah, we'll do 3 games. Let's go to sideboarding.
Okay.
Take a short break.
2 seconds. Talk about something.
Talk about something? Okay. Well, that game in particular, the Planeswalkers, both of them had a significant effect. The Teferi, kind of made you shock at a weird time where you might not necessarily want it to. And also bounce your Goblin Electromancer. The Narset, though, was just the key. I left it at 5. It was just really hard to kill. Shut down in all the card draw spells in your hand, particularly that Tormenting Voice you wanted to discard the Arclight Phoenix to.
Yeah, I think if I keep the 4th land, though, I get to Arclight on 4 and attack the Narset immediately down to 2.
Yeah.
And then maybe I can start getting some traction there. I mean, maybe you just Teferi bounce the Arclight, then I deal with Narset. I don't know when you found the second one. But maybe you can start getting some traction from there because then I can just start slamming Crackling Drakes.
Yeah.
But Sarkhan making a dragon, so it would have been tough. Hard to say where the game goes from there, but it's really just the missed 4th land drop combined with the Narset was critical because then I can't use my cantrips to find the land.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a 2-minute break here while we get sideboards put together. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, we're back here for sideboarding. I'll let you start if you want to.
Okay, so on my side, I am bringing in threats that help me pressure Planeswalkers, which are Saheeli, Sarkhan, and Legion Warboss. In order to facilitate the Sarkhan, we have some Narsets, which are good against Todd's Teferis and Opts to make him time the Opts on my end step. And Narset is also a way for me to gain card advantage and start chaining spells through an opposing Narset, so that they're sort of good against each other. And then Sarkhan gives us the same sort of effect that it has in Todd's deck, but slightly worse. And we've got some counter spells to help hopefully gain tempo. I've talked a lot about just the Planeswalker deck needing to get the ball rolling, and these sorts of good tempo plays from the counter spells are a great way to do that. I think in this matchup, we're not actually often going for a fast Phoenix or pitching Phoenixes early, because you have so many ways to prevent me from just casting 3 spells in the turn for value, mostly Narset. And these are weak when you're trying to go for these really aggressive Phoenix draws, because they're not spells that you can play proactively on your turn, but they're going to be a little bit better here when we can sort of play Planeswalkers and hopefully gain tempo with this, and then start pressing ahead on the battlefield to make it hard for you to land your next Planeswalker.
Yeah, I gotta say, I actually love cutting Finale Promise. I could not figure out a sideboard configuration that I liked where I could do that, but whenever you bring in counterspells, Finale Promise just gets so much worse, and in this matchup, you get to cut Coil, and you get to bring in counterspells, and cutting Finale just makes perfect sense with all these permanents you can bring in.
I'm leaving 1 in because it's still a powerful card to draw 2, but we've mentioned that it's bad against Teferi Time Raveler. It's also a card that I sort of think of as this big card advantage card, and now Narset is sort of taking that spot while playing better with these sideboard threats.
Yeah, it's also better against an opposing Narset.
Yes, exactly. So harder to gain card advantage, and then we're cutting our worst threat, which is Crackling Drake. You saw how awkward it can be. Just gets bounced by Teferi, dies to Lava Coil, it trades with a dragon, so it's actually hard to pressure Planeswalkers with Crackling Drake. The Narset stops the card draw. We're bringing in a lot of other threats, so we have to bring out some. It's the worst main deck one. And then Tormenting Voice is the worst cantrip that we have against Narset because, it puts you down 2 cards if you try to cast it into a Narset as opposed to just 1.
Yeah, and also I don't think a lot of people board out Spell Pierce in this matchup, and getting your Tormenting Voice hit by a Spell Pierce is so backbreaking in the early turns that I don't think it's worth keeping in the deck.
Yeah, I look at this sideboard plan, it looks very clean, very intuitive.
I like that sideboard plan a lot, actually, so I'm hoping it helps after board.
Yeah, it should help us out a lot here.
All right, from my side, we're doing this thing that I just kind of maybe get stuck on doing sometimes, which is board out Spell Pierce. I don't.
Might need this.
I think you do cut the other Drake for that personally.
I only have 3 Drakes in the deck.
Oh sure. Maybe cut like a strike or not a shock.
Yeah, we're gonna have to trim a shock.
Shock is okay. So Spell Pierce is this card that I think is quite good in game 1 because you have these draws where you can Spell Pierce something early. It's also a card that if your opponent doesn't know that you're siding it out, it'll always be in the back of their mind when you have a blue mana up. So it's actually just has an effect on your opponent most of the time that you're not going to see much on Versus Live because we do the sideboarding face up. But in a different tournament, like your opponent just might make a completely different play than normal if you have a blue mana float like up to cast a Spell Pierce. So
even on Versus Live, we saw you play around Dovin's Veto, much to your detriment, in the second match.
Yeah. So personally, I'm a huge fan of just cutting Spell Pierce after sideboard because games go a lot longer. Top decks matter significantly more, and as the control player, Spell Pierce is usually quite bad because you need to always be having a proactive answer to something your opponent's playing. For example, these Planeswalkers that Ross is bringing are actually quite tough for me to deal with. I'm going to be relying a lot on Prison Realm. I'm going to be relying a lot on my Saheeli to maybe pressure his Planeswalkers, and I'm going to be relying a lot on my Sarkans to check those. So this sideboard plan from Ross is just looking harder and harder to beat. I like the Deafening Clarions. It helps clear up Phoenixes, and if without Finale or when I have a Narset or something in play, it's a lot harder to get Phoenixes back. It also checks Legion Warboss, which I think is going to be a very common card to come in against this deck. And then 2 Lava Coils just exile Phoenix. I'm not always 100% that they're going to be boarding out Crackling Drake. I don't think that this is a common sideboard plan, and it's something that Ross has developed that I actually quite like. So Lava Coil is going to be a little bit worse, but they're going to kill something almost every time.
Yeah, and with Baby Teferi, you can instant speed it against a Phoenix, which is nice.
Yeah, we're going to be trimming 2 Scions. Hitting land drops in this matchup is not really what you need to be doing. You need your card draw effects to find answers, and the minus on the Karnstructs aren't really that good, and it's just a little bit slow. We're cutting 1 Teferi for similar reasons. He has a lot of creatures with haste, so the minus is not reliable, and then Spell Pierce. And then we're cutting Mox Amber because we're cutting Spell Pierce. This is kind of like the 1-2 punch where you go 3 mana Planeswalker, Mox Amber, hold up Spell Pierce. And without Spell Pierce in the deck, Mox Amber just gets a lot worse. And I also expect a lot of my Planeswalkers to die almost immediately.
Makes sense. Any questions over there, Taylor?
Yeah, so there's a big, I'd say, conglomerate of questions that kind of narrow down to what's the best way to go to try to beat Jeskai Super Friends, and let's try to stay with it for Elder Spell. Is there any other way to, kind of approach?
Well, you're going to want to be aggressive and get to the battlefield, but you need to do so in a way that isn't that vulnerable to Deafening Clarion. A card that I quite like is Gruul Spellbreaker.
Yeah.
It's very good at attacking Planeswalkers, can play it as a 4/4 to play around Clarion. So I wonder if some sort of Gruul deck can be good, but the Gruul decks have had, the way they're built now, their mana is pretty bad.
Yeah.
With Rekindling Phoenix and Chandra in the 4 slot.
Yeah, I don't think you can play Phoenix, Chandra, and Llanowar Elves in the same deck. I just think that that's just really counterintuitive. Plus, a lot of the decks actually play Unclaimed Territory as their one of their splash lands, so that they can play an Elf on turn 1 while still having a land that can cast a warrior, like a
Goblin Chain Whirl.
Goblin Chain Whirl or something, yeah. And then on top of that, you just can't play Chandra off of the Unclaimed Territories. It's just, so I don't know.
I just want to play Zertog Goblin Gruul Spellbreaker.
Sure. Haste creatures are very good. I think that's why you're seeing a huge uptick in Legion Warboss. It's like a really powerful threat while also generating 1 point of haste to go after these Planeswalkers that just come in and tick down. All right, let's do a couple more. I'm going to mulligan.
Okay. Is it time to put Ashiok in board for the Phoenix matchup?
No.
Doesn't seem necessary.
Didn't top 8. I don't think. I mean, I do think Phoenix is good. My article was about it last week. But things have changed dramatically. And if every opponent has 4 Narset in their deck, Phoenix is just real hard to justify.
Tough.
Your entire deck.
Card.
Your entire deck. It's your entire deck. The whole thing.
If you just have a burning passion to play mid-range against Jeskai, what is the better mid-range deck, Bant or Sultai?
I like Bant. I like planeswalkers against the planeswalker deck, honestly, because they actually have quite a tough road to attack them. They have just as much of a difficulty attacking planeswalkers as other decks have attacking them. I think Vivian, Champion of the Wilds, is extremely good. It gets a little bit weaker against Teferi, Hero Dominaria, or Time Raveler. But if they don't have a Time Raveler, you just get to start playing things at flash speed, which helps you get around Deafening Clarion. Lets you play creatures in spots where their removal might not be good. And if you have a Teferi Time Raveler of your own, they can't answer your creatures at all before they get to attack their planeswalkers. So
that's effectively giving them haste, right?
Right.
That's the advantage of a creature having haste, that it gets to free attack in. I mean, you get to play at instant speed and they can't. Basically the same thing.
I'm going to keep a bad 6. Let's go into the match, though.
I'm going to keep an okay 6, and we will scry this Radical Idea to the bottom.
All right.
I will play a Scheme Unstapped and pass.
Perfect. Good turn.
I really want to hit my third land, so let's chart here and see 2 cards deep.
Okay.
And I will discard a Radical Idea.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
So, I guess it doesn't change that much. And I'll just play this thing go. Probably need to opt here to dig for land. You just not had a third land?
Nope.
Well, I got a shock for your war boss, which sucks for you, but kind of sucks for me that you don't have it. My next couple turns might be ruined because of it, which is weird.
Pass the turn.
I'll cast an opt on your instep.
Yep.
At bottom, just looking for land here. Any land is fine. Go.
End of turn, I'll opt.
Yep.
Top that.
Lucky.
Play a Saheeli.
Yeah, of course you play Saheeli because I told you I have a shock.
Pass the turn. I'm definitely not playing Warboss into open mana when I have something else.
I just don't have a land. I have so many good cards in my hand. Go.
That's like the part of the emotional distress of being mana screwed versus flooded, is that you have to stare at all the cards you can't cast. When you're flooded, you just have nothing. So let us play a Chart a Course and make a servo.
Sure.
And discard a shock and pass the turn.
A shock. Play Prison Realm.
Brings you to 18. I will negate the Prison Realm and make a servo.
Of course you have one of your 2 ways to stop it. Go.
That's why I didn't opt on turn 3. So now, how should I play this? At this point, I don't want to play the War Boss and have everything get cleaned up by a Clarion. So I am simply going to play this, play a Narset, get a servo. -2 the Narset. Show you another Narset.
Sure.
And attack for 2.
16.
And pass the turn.
Prison Realm.
I will respond with an opt to make a servo. See if I can find the Spell Pierce. And is this good? I think it is. So I'm going to keep it on top. Okay, Prison Realm results.
Your Saheeli.
Yep.
I'll bottom a non-land. Your turn.
That was perfect. Let's, I guess, let's a Radical Idea first. Pitch Phoenix.
1.
Let's -2 the Narset. Show you a Saheeli. Just kind of looking for an instant or sorcery. And now I have the option of playing the Saheeli and getting that down, or bringing back the Phoenix, which is a weird. You're at 16. I think I'm just going to play the Saheeli. and attack for 4.
12.
Pass a turn.
This is tough. My hand is like almost very good. If I just had another land, I would be in a lot better shape. Not having the land means that I can't double spell, and I have to figure out the best course of action otherwise. And I don't think anything can get me out of it. So let's go with an Narset.
Yep.
2, 3, 4. And that might slow Ross down a little bit as far as getting the Phoenix back. Narset's going to die. Maybe I should not have even minus because I just don't have the mana to cast the thing that I'm getting anyway.
Yeah, like drawing more spells when your mana screwed is not.
Yeah, it also just like forces
valuable.
you to send everything at this and then also do one more point somehow. You probably have a way, but you know, maybe you don't.
Yeah, so I am going to play a Narset, get a servo.
Okay.
Minus the Narset. I know, Lightning Strike.
And that doesn't count as drawing a card, right?
Correct.
Because you're searching. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the ability only stops things that say literally draw a card, and there's a lot of things in all the formats really.
Play a War Boss. Have the new servo copy that War Boss.
Attack for 3 at me and 3 at Narset.
We get 2 goblins, so we'll.
This does not have haste. It's
Oh yeah,
War Boss.
yeah, that's how that works.
So 3 at me and 3 at Narset.
Yes.
I'm at 9.
Yeah, brings you to 9, and I will pass a turn.
I'll go to 7. I'm gonna play Deafening Clarion.
Okay, I have 8 damage and burn in my hand.
Cool.
I don't think it was actually that cool. It might be for one person.
Yeah, it's just frustrating. Sometimes games go like that, though, especially in the standard format. Things just get very steamrolly on occasion.
Yeah, very snowbally. Mist land drops are
Okay.
a death
This
sentence.
is yours. I might want to bring back in the Spell Piercers just to help out against those Planeswalkers. After seeing that game and how it played out, I just wanted a Spell Pierce at like a lot of instances. Yeah. Do you want to get a question or two while I'm just thinking
Yeah,
this
let's
over?
do it.
Let's do this. Hey Ross, isn't running double discovery kind of bad with triple finale?
You know, it's not the best with it, but for the most part, you're targeting Chart and Lava Coil as the sorcery. You know, sometimes you run into it, but there's not really a better other sorcery to play. Like, I don't want a third Tormenting Voice for sure. It's just a much weaker card overall. You have enough. You just see so many cards over the course of the game. And usually when in matchups where Lava Coil is bad, I'll trim on the finales. But they're just so good when they're good that I had to play 3. It was Todd that suggested that most lists have 2, and they were very good for me.
Yeah, there was an iteration of the deck that won the second MCQ weekend on Magic Online that had 3, and I was at 2 in the main and 1 in the sideboard already. And his build leaned a little more towards things like Lightning Strike and moved away from 4 Radical Idea, so I was like pretty in on it. And it was really good. There were some games where you just drew a couple instants or a couple of sorceries and not both. And those are the games where drawing like the second finale is bad. But if you ever unlock it, like it just becomes the best possible card in your deck.
Yeah.
It's only really bad against a Fairy Time Raveler. That's basically it.
Excellent. I know a few people have been asking about Immortal Sun to fight.
Doesn't stop the statics.
Yeah, with Narset, you don't get to draw the extra
Narset.
card, which is...
Might be one of the most infuriating things I've ever seen or heard. All right. Had a hand with 2 opt and no bloom and a mole.
And we fielded a question about this card last week too, and it's important to note that hate cards, they only start popping up when certain cards in the format are really, really good and very powerful. And in order to play the hate card, you don't get to play the really powerful card. And oftentimes it's just better to play the really powerful card because it works all the time. You know, like so it's a reasonable card too, but and a powerful card, but it costs 6. This costs way more. Like also hate cards that cost a lot more than the cards you're trying to target, especially these Planeswalkers that have static abilities that'll stick around under the Immortal Sun and will just minus a couple times before you cast it and get all their value. that like, what are you really stopping?
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna keep my 6. I'm gonna bottom.
My 7 is fine.
Okay. 18 go.
Island go.
And opt. Would you like to pierce it?
Nope.
Bottom of Prison Realm. We just need some lands. Draw. There's a land. Your turn.
Steam Vents, you can go. Go. End of turn, I'll opt.
Yep.
Let's bottom that one. I will play a Goblin Electromancer.
Sure.
Pass it.
I'm playing opt.
Yep.
Kind of just want red mana here, so I'm just gonna bottom. Untap, draw. Shock.
You're at 16.
Play Sahili.
I will spell pierce it.
Pierce back.
Yep.
Go. Sahili probably gonna die to Electromancer plus Phoenix here. Hopefully
Radical
not.
idea.
Come on. Okay.
Radical idea. Pitch Phoenix.
Sure.
Opt.
I almost didn't go for it. I needed to do it last turn. I just didn't have.
I'm not going to opt. I'm going to lightning strike the Sahili down to 2, and then
3 me and
yeah, and deal 3 to you.
All right.
You're at 13. You can go.
Okay. Get wrecked. 11. There we go.
I don't have the stroke. Okay, on your end step, let's try to find the Beacon Bolt.
Okay.
This is the 5th spell. I guess
You didn't knock on the deck.
that digs pretty hard towards the Beacon Bolt, so yeah, I'll keep it.
Okay. I feel like you're mad.
I just had everything covered except the card that
You were
you.
mad 2 seconds ago.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not mad. That's how it goes.
And now I'm using the lightning strike to hold him in a gate as like a big brick, because now I can't just draw shock and deal with the Lyra. Is this better? I think it is. Sahili,
Okay.
Discovery, make a servo.
Okay.
Nick Miller with the true mantra of life. Everyone is mad at everything.
It's true.
So put that in the graveyard and we'll draw this one.
Okay.
And pass the turn. Now Todd just Clarions, yep. Every freaking time.
$16.
You go to 18.
Sure.
Oh no, you shocked. Yeah, you're right. You're at 16.
16 is what I got.
Go. Are you still at 20 or did you shock also?
He's at 20.
Okay.
Make a goblin.
Sure.
You're at 15. You can go. We got some time.
Attack for 8.
I will go to 12 and you go to 20. I can take one hit from the mobilized district without making the Lyra lethal a turn early. Go.
That's a pretty good top deck.
I thought so.
Okay.
Now the
attack one.
tables have
19.
truly turned.
You can go.
Yeah, you know, just the 1 out. Got me with the 1 outer. 3.
I'm at 9.
Go.
So heal it.
Sure.
Attack for 3.
16.
You can go.
Attack for 3.
Before block, strike it, make a servo.
Okay. Clarion. At 14.
Did you shock?
You shocked there?
Yeah.
So you're at 14, I'm at 9.
Go.
And now we're in the driver's seat by a lot.
Oh, yeah, because I drew 4 lines in a row.
Okay, I guess we will chart and make a servo. And discard this mountain and play a steam fence. Pass the turn.
Whatever, go.
Sarkin, make a servo. Sure. Now, do I make a dragon?
I think you always minus if you...
Well, you have shock in your deck. Just leave this vulnerable to shock when I don't really need to.
Sure. Attack for 5.
You're 14. You're dead next. You're dead next turn with a plus. So I don't.
Okay, you went.
Just drew a bunch of lands.
You're shock on the last turn, so it would have potentially saved me if you had minus, which is funny. And that's unfortunate. I don't know. I like the sideboard plan, so I'm just going to stick with that. Your sideboard plan felt really good. Obviously, you play a Beacon Bolt because of that very reason. And drawing it there was huge, but you had a lot of ways to dig for it. I mean, you saw like half your deck, so it's you find it.
When I took a card off the Discovery early, it was the Lightning Strike, so I could draw another burn spell to deal with it too.
Yeah.
And then I ended up finding the Beacon Bolt instead, which was great because it let me kill the District. I actually had a game against Dominic Harvey. He was on Esper Control, where he just split turn 5 Lyra, and it attacked me 3 times and put me to 3 because I had shocked. And I found the Beacon Bolt at 3 life, and then once I killed it was the same thing. Like I was just so far ahead on every other axis.
No, I think one of the things to take away is that opposing Saheelis I think are quite good. Especially in that deck because your Saheelis are so much better than mine because you have a bunch of cheap ways to generate the tokens, where mine is kind of a little clunky as far as generating the tokens is concerned.
Saheeli is also very good with Arclight Phoenix because you can copy a token that's just entered the battlefield and give it haste and get 6 power in the air. That kills most planeswalkers, even like a Karn that pluses.
Yeah, my big mistake in that game I think was just going for the Saheeli when I did. If I just Lava Coil your Goblin Electromancer instead of like playing the Sealy without being able to protect it or whatever, it's just a lot worse. Next turn I can play Saheeli with Spell Pierce backup.
Well, you did play it with Pierce backup.
Yeah, but like I left it vulnerable with an untapped Electromancer with a full grip of cards, and you're almost always going to be able to put a Phoenix on the battlefield because you're just going to go like radical, Discovery.
I could just play land Phoenix too. I played on turn 3. So land Phoenix.
And that's the real bummer for me. I just
Lightning Strike or there's a lot of ways that Saheeli is almost assuredly not living. So yeah, I could see that because then if you play it later, I was forced to start tapping out to try to deal with the Lyra, and I think you might have been able to finesse it into play through the negate, and that would have been big.
Yeah. So a couple of things to note. If obviously your sideboard configuration was quite good in this matchup, and I'm not even sure that it's bad in a number of other matchups, which is something that I think you might need to think about potentially completely altering the face of the Izzet Phoenix deck. Like in a world where people are playing Narset and Teferi Time Raveler, Craggling Drake is kind of embarrassing. And like there's a reason why a lot of the older versions of the deck went down to 3. You've also gone down to 3.
Yep.
And it might just be worthwhile to just cut a land, play 3 Legion Warboss instead, maybe 4 Legion Warboss, and just have like that really potent threat at 3 mana that's backed up by the spot removal spells. And then in scenarios like that, if your opponent does kill it, that's not that big of a deal. You invested 3 mana, you probably still have a goblin out of it. But in matchups where your opponent doesn't kill it, you just get to cast it, untap, kill 2 blockers with a Finale of Promise, and then the game's just over.
Yeah, I think in matchups like these, obviously Cracking Lyric is bad. I boarded it out. I think it's still quite good against Esper Control.
It's also good against Mono Red.
Yeah, that's my biggest point. Is I think it's one of your more important cards against Mono Red.
It is.
They bring in Coil after sideboard so they can answer it, but in game 1, I think it's the way you win most of your games.
No, that's definitely fair. And it's also important when you're deck building and trying to metagame that you don't overlook certain matchups and you don't tunnel vision against one particular deck.
Yeah.
Yes, this Jeskai Super Friends deck did do really well and won the tournament, but so did Mono Red, and they're kind of the opposite ends of the spectrums in terms of how you attack them. What cards are good against which, and and it's important at the very least in a deck like Phoenix to just be flexible.
Yes, and when you look at Mono Red, it now has 3 top 8s in each of the opens post-war.
Yeah.
and those two metagames were completely different.
Yes.
One was dominated by Simic Nexus, had like Bant mid-range in it, some Esper Hero, a good bit of the white aggro decks. This had a little bit less white aggro, which like popped up last week, but then sort of died down quickly again. But had a way more of these like Command the Dreadhorde decks, more Wild Growth Walkers in the format this week, still successful. These Planeswalker decks instead of Bant, still Esper decks, but they were more tuned to beat.
They almost all went hero and not control.
And so and maybe less Esper control. So it's been successful against 7-8 different archetypes that are all well represented across 2 weeks and continues to perform really well. So mono red is definitely the top aggro deck, and it definitely has to be respected. And one of my losses down the stretch was to Harlan when in that matchup, and Crackling Drake was really important.
Yeah,
I almost won game. I was ahead in game 1, and he top decked the burn spell to kill me, but Crackling Drake was the card that was going to kill him. And then played pretty poorly in game 2. But I don't think you can cut it entirely, because then you're just almost throwing away the red matchup.
No, that's certainly fair. And it was just the first card in my head that looked really bad in game 1, and I was just like, and I thought to myself, Crackling Drake has been pretty terrible for me in the last couple of days. So, it's possible that you just need to play 3 at the top of your curve to be able to have some closing speed against mono red, closing speed against some decks in general.
Yeah, it's all the aggro decks. Crackling Drake is pretty good. It's still quite good against Esper Control because their Teferis aren't nearly as good and are easier to kill.
Yeah.
It was excellent for me against the Grixis decks. I played 2 of those matchups last weekend. Don't think that deck's that good, but Crackling Drake's obviously going to be great there. They're like, they have some Narsets, but they don't have the Teferi to bounce it. Like you're pretty. It's a lot easier to get the 2-for-1 out of it.
Yeah, I think the true hero of this matchup in particular was your Saheelis. They were really good against like Deafening Clarion, just giving you that resiliency in the face of spot removal and sweepers. And in a deck like this, I just don't really have a great way to check it other than my own Saheelis. But as we've talked about before, Arclight Phoenix specifically is fantastic at attacking planeswalkers.
Yep.
The fact that you can just hardcast on turn 4 and hit 1 for 3, like a Narset that's minused, just makes it so that they can't even get value out of their Narset by minusing because of the threat of Arclight Phoenix. And that's just really important in a lot of spots.
Yeah, and unless you have Narset, my Saheeli is going to outpace yours.
Right.
So all my spells are so much cheaper for the most part. You do have ops and shocks of your own, but I'm definitely going to chain more frequently than you are and outgrow my servo army. And then once you have, if you're talking about a position where you have Saheeli and Narset and you're casting other spells, like those are the games you're gonna win.
Yeah.
So I've just been so impressed with Saheeli. It was probably the most impressive card in my deck, along with Finale.
Yeah, I mean that's why I had 1 main, 1 board. And I mean, 2 main would have been fine. I had 2 main in a lot of configurations, and I just got to a lot of spots where I would draw 2 against like White Weenie or whatever, and I would desperately need like another instant to bring back an Arclight Phoenix / trigger the one that I already have in play, and I just drew another Saheeli.
Yeah.
And the second one drawn in game 1 is usually quite bad, but after sideboard in a lot of matchups, the second one is great because the first one often dies because it's so good.
Yep, that's what happened in the matchup I played against Kevin Jones in the Mirror. I killed his Saheeli twice, and he just played a second one immediately, and that one took over the game.
Yeah. All right, let's do subs if we have subs.
Yeah, we got 4. So,
let's go.
Like just a second, Victor P. Subscribe to Tier 1. Thank you very much. Another new one, a Wild Pikachu. New subscriber, thank you so much. JBag62, 4 months. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for the 4 months.
And then Ryan Possible for 3 months. Love the new chairs. Love the Todd and Ross interactions.
Hey, thanks a lot, everybody. We couldn't really do the show without the support from y'all, so I really appreciate it. I mean, obviously, the love for Commander versus they get the chairs too. I don't know if y'all watched yesterday. Did they have them yesterday?
I don't think we sent the pictures out yet.
Oh,
because Commander's on Wednesday. Today's Tuesday.
Wait, what's today? Tuesday?
Yeah, it's not Thursday.
Hey, Commander's got cool chairs.
Yeah, they got cool chairs.
Tune in and find out.
All right. Well, I was going to do it for today. Thursday, we're going to... I don't know why I thought today was Thursday. My brain is melt.
Yeah, it's starting to get hot here in Roanoke, and that just fries everyone's brains.
Yeah, it's also hot in the studio just because we don't have air conditioning, because then you would hear woo
What?
the whole time we're filming. So Thursday, we're going to be doing War of the Spark Modern. We're going to be trying out some new cards from War of the Spark. We have quite a few deck lists from a couple of Modern Classics that we've had so far. A lot of results from Magic Online, as well as some other local tournaments, as well as IQs. So we're going to be digging through that, looking for some really cool decks. We're probably going to do something with Neoform, because the Allosaurus Rider Neoform decks have been basically super talked about, and I think that they're pretty ridiculous and kind of awesome. But
See what's
really
up with this Karn, Micus, and Vladis nonsense.
Yeah, I'm not sure how. I mean, if you have 10 men, you should be able to win the game anyway. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
It's casting Ulmog.
Yeah.
I've heard that Narset is quite good and has been seeing a lot of play, which is
Scary.
Not a good sign for Izzet Phoenix.
Yeah.
It's just as good against the modern version. Faithless Looting not so good against Narset.
I mean, you still get to discard 2 Phoenixes, I guess.
So we'll see how that one goes. I've got some updates to Izzet Phoenix. You can read about them in my article today, actually, and we're going to be trying that one out because I just can't stay away.
Sure.
And
I mean, Finale Promise is good, right?
I hope so. I got one.
Yeah. I mean, I think the card's just nice for modern.
Got some Narsets in the sideboard.
Yeah.
Got some Heelys in the sideboard.
But yeah, we are going to be basically taking questions and talking about new preview cards from Modern Horizons, but we're not going to be playing with them until next week. We're going to have a lot of previews come out over this week, and we just want to kind of focus on this weekend. We have SCG Louisville, where we're going to have a Modern Open, and we're going to be working Thursday to figure out, if any of these War of the Spark decks are actually viable and something that you want to take a look at.
Personally, I think this is going to be one of the most impactful sets for Modern.
I agree.
In years. I think there's a good
probably
chance.
Like New Phyrexia is my take.
I would probably say since Return to Ravnica.
Innistrad, maybe. Innistrad was quite good.
Return to Ravnica, Deathrite Shaman. Got a card banned.
Just one.
Abrupt Decay.
2.
Supreme Verdict.
Innistrad had Liliana Veil, Snapcaster Mage, Delver of Secrets. I guess Delver kind of sucks.
Yeah. But RTR is also more recent, so if RTR was impactful.
Yeah, sure. There's look.
Yeah, it's going to be really impactful. I think there's a chance that it's more impactful than Modern Horizons.
Ooh, intriguing.
That's, hot fire in the hot take cannon. Can we get a hot take cannon to fire? See, they won't let us fire the Nerf gun.
Correct.
That could be our hot take cannon.
No.
What? Why can't we fire the Nerf gun?
0%.
I asked them about it, and they were very,
Nice.
That's hot garbage.
very
Yes.
quick.
Okay.
There's already a hole in the wall over there.
Well, that's from like a
Thanks for
drill
ruining the
that was there
illusion.
for like I don't know,
that was
pipe or something.
Yeah, that was for something reasonable. But all I'm saying is we'll point it away from the equipment and my face.
Cool. Guess what? Not possible in the studio.
All right. We're going to call it quits there for today, but make sure to tune back in on Thursday. We're going to be going over more Modern with War of the Spark. That's Ross Merriam. I'm Todd Anderson. Thanks to Taylor for keeping the program running. Thanks to you at home for watching, subs, and just hanging out and viewing with us. We'll see you Thursday.